Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. A few interesting things to discuss today. We've got a new structure forming on Bitcoin, a triangular structure that gives us some guidance as to when Bitcoin will be moving. We have a couple of RSI formations on the Bitcoin weekly chart, okay, comparing it to the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap chart, which is the altcoin market cap chart, giving us an indication of where those charts could bottom out. Obviously, as we've discussed many times, the altcoin market cap chart is at major threat here, and it needs to bottom out around this price region. It doesn't really have much of a choice. It's either bottom out here or destroy macro structures that suggest altcoin season in a typical altcoin bull market. So we really are at a critical point there, and I'm not going to waste your time by talking about that too extensively today, because I've literally discussed it every single video for the last week, but I will briefly go into it. Mostly just trying to get new information out here. 4-year cycle is a thing we haven't talked about in quite a while. And the reason I haven't talked about it in a while is because obviously we've seen deviations from the 4-year cycle and we've moved upwards a lot faster and a lot quicker than expected. What is my general thoughts on 4-year cycle? I'm going to do a quick discussion about that towards the end here. So quite a few interesting things in bits and pieces to look into today. We'll try to come to some concise conclusions about when Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will be moving. We've also got another chart here right on the monthly chart that is quite critical in terms of the monthly chart RSI, and also where those critical dividing levels on a cycle-to-cycle level are for Bitcoin. So without further ado, let's check out a few things and then get into it. So the exchanges we've got here today, the BitGet exchange, the BingX exchange, and of course, the BitUnix exchange. So either of these exchanges are great exchanges. They're all very low in trading fees. They have all never been hacked before. And all 3 of these exchanges have my referral links down below. You can click on those referral links in the description or pinned comment, sign up to the exchanges with those links, okay? And you'll get a 15% permanent trading fee discount on either one of these exchanges. So take your pick, use the links down below, help yourself by getting on a good exchange, secure, cheap, and even cheaper with my link, and help out the channel by doing that as well. Check those out. Let's get into it today. We'll start out with Bitcoin. We'll start out with the medium term, okay? Now, obviously, Bitcoin structure is as follows. We had this kind of support zone here at around 67 to 66K. We broke down below that structure. We're hovering on kind of a mid-range support zone at 64.5K, and we've managed to form a triangular formation here. If we go to the 4-hourly chart, we can see it more clear than we can on the daily chart. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see a kind of descending resistance line right here, as well as an ascending support line stemming back from the 10th of May. This is a fresh structure, only identified on this most recent 4-hourly candle. And as you can see, it has an apex, meaning it reaches the end of its compression at around the 26th of June. And obviously, we're not going to go all the way to that apex point. The chances are we'll be breaking out of this formation within the next 48 hours, most likely, maybe 72 hours, right? 2 to 3 days within that period of time. So I suppose the point here is that Bitcoin is going to be moving either down or up very shortly. And the implications won't be massive for Bitcoin, but they will be massive for altcoins, right? Because we know very well that Bitcoin is not really at danger of breaking any macro structures, even if we're looking at it from a very simplistic level. And again, I don't want to discuss this too much because it's things we've really gone into quite extensively, and I don't want to bore you here, but I will have to just briefly. On a macro level, I mean, Bitcoin's entire range kind of ends down here at 61K. As long as we're above that 61K region, there's really no problems for Bitcoin. And the same can be said about its dynamic supports. So for example, we have a trend line going back from 2011 that's sitting at around 61K, as well as the typical indicators such as the bull market support band, again, sitting at 61K. So all these things mean that Bitcoin technically has room to move to the downside. It technically could go downwards from this triangular structure. But I suppose it's kind of important that Bitcoin doesn't, because if Bitcoin goes downwards, obviously altcoins will get dragged down with it. And altcoins are in a bit more cautious situation here. You know, I've discussed the macro trend a lot, but even just looking at it from a medium term or long term level without those macro trends, we can see that altcoins are kind of threatening to break down. We have this kind of ascending support line here on the price chart, and also on the RSI, and Bitcoin moving downwards much more will lead to a breakout of these two things, as well as a breakout of critical things such as the bull market support band on a weekly candle close, okay? And also the pi cycle level on a weekly candle close. And we really don't want to lose those things, because losing those things is something that would be totally abnormal, something that will throw off the charts massively, something that did not happen last cycle, okay? And this is where we get into the point that if we lose these indicators for the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap chart, the macro trends that make us comfortable to think there's going to be an altcoin season go away, and we're thrown in the dark with the altcoin market. So we really need to hold on to these trends here. And luckily, and it's not even lucky, right? Because people think this market is full of coincidences. I tell you right now, there's no coincidences in this market. Look at the triangular structure I just identified on Bitcoin. I said to you very clearly it's going to break out probably within 3 days, okay? Now, when does the weekly candle close for the altcoin market cap? Again, 2 days and 17 hours, basically 3 days. So we will be seeing a move in the Bitcoin market and hence the broader market before it is time to see the weekly candle close for the altcoin market, meaning that we will have an opportunity here to get back above the levels we need to get back above for altcoins. Very interesting stuff. And I know I've just said that, Bitcoin has room to move to the downside, and that is true, but we really don't want to be doing that, for altcoin's sake, and also for the longer term chart's sake as well. We look at the Bitcoin monthly chart, for example, and we see that, well, Bitcoin maybe doesn't actually have as much room as we may have thought. We look at this chart right here. We look at these yellow lines that kind of divide bull markets from bear markets historically, okay? And you might think, oh, I'm just drawing these lines arbitrarily. That's not actually true at all, really. If you look at the RSI, 67 on the monthly chart RSI, and you look at when we retest these yellow lines in the price chart, you'll notice that the retests in the price chart line up perfectly with the retest of the 67 level on the RSI, meaning that this level on the RSI at 67 in yellow is the relative relative level to the yellow lines in the price chart. So these lines on the screen, all these yellow lines are connected to the RSI line right there. And generally speaking, in fact, always, when we get above this yellow line on the RSI, we enter a parabolic bull market, okay? We enter that bull market phase. We did that on Bitcoin back in February. We broke all-time highs as a result of that. And right now we've come back down and we're retesting that level. We don't want to lose that level. If we lose that level, we get thrown back into bear market territory, or not necessarily bear market territory yet, because it'd have to happen on the price chart as well. But certainly for the RSI, you're going very bearish if you do that. So we want to be seeing a maintenance of this support zone, a flip and continuation back to the upside. Losing that level would not be great. Now, luckily, it is a monthly chart. So we've got 9 days and 17 hours into the monthly candle close. So technically speaking, we could see a deviation on the Bitcoin charts lower and then the monthly chart getting back up above that level before the close. But it wouldn't be ideal. I mean, realistically, we want to just hold on to it in general. And that is being threatened right now. So quite a few things are being threatened here. Altcoins are being threatened, of course. Bitcoin on the monthly, the more macro charts are being threatened. Bitcoin is not really in a terrible situation on a range-based analysis, but this structure right here, which we're forming and actually looking like we could be edging below it right now. If we go to the short-term charts, let's just go check out 4-hourly and see what's going on here. Could actually be edging below it right now. Let's just hope that we can form a double bottom and mark this little drop as a deviation. That wouldn't be totally unexpected. Or alternatively, let's just hope that this could form some sort of descending channel formation. There's a few things that could occur here, but for the most part, okay, we want to be seeing the descending diagonal line break to the upside as soon as we possibly can. And the same thing can be said, by the way, about the daily chart RSI. So we go to the Bitcoin daily chart RSI, and we see that this line needs to be breaking to the upside in order to confirm a reversal of this kind of medium-term downwards trend. And another thing that needs to occur is flipping 67.2K. Obviously, that was a resistance zone. This red box here was a resistance zone. We formed an inverted head and shoulders pattern. We got back above it, and then we held it for support for a period of time. Now we actually dropped below it. So we need to be flipping that level again. There's a few things that need to occur for the bulls to kind of regain control of the medium-term price action. Unfortunately, none of them have occurred yet. And hopefully we do see them start to occur with some of these structures forming, whether it be this triangle I outlined in this video, whether it be this descending channel I just outlined just then as a result of that recent price action. We need to be seeing something happen here because we're not far away from a weekly candle close in the altcoin market with 2 days and 17 hours out. And that's not a long period of time. So we don't really have much time to be stuffing around here. We kind of have to get a little bit of a move on. Now, moving into something else, right? The 4-year cycle, and this is something I said I'd discuss at the start of the video, and I will do so now. Now, 4-year cycle is obviously the strongest ever date range trend that Bitcoin's ever had. Now, it's not really a price trend. It doesn't really rely on price. So you can't really predict where the price will go based on 4-year cycle. At least you can't do it accurately. But what you can do is you can predict where the top will be and where the bottom would be in a regular bull market with 1-year bull market, 1-year bear market, 2-year sideways, hence the 4-year cycle, and the bull market being triggered by the halving. That's what's been happening historically, and it's been extremely accurate. In fact, we use the 4-year cycle to predict on this YouTube channel and on Twitter when I used to use it, the top in November 2021. We said we were going to see a November 2021 top all the way back from when I started the channel on Twitter, which was actually February 2021. So we perfectly predicted the date range of a top. And from the top, we perfectly predicted the date range of the bottom in November 2022. Everyone was saying, oh, 4-year cycle was broken because we saw a double top. Obviously, that was not true. I saw no reason for that to be true because although the price of the top in 2021 may have been slightly suspicious, the date in which it occurred was perfectly within the bounds of the 4-year cycle, and hence there was no reason to assume the 4-year cycle was broken. And of course, we saw the November 2022 bottom, which kind of validated that the 4-year cycle was not broken, and hence invalidated the double top theory. And since we've seen that November 2022 bottom, I originally said that we'll be seeing a top in October 2025. I'm having doubts on that, and I think a lot of people are. And the reason I'm having doubts on that is because Bitcoin did objectively move upwards about 250 days earlier than expected. Usually, we see Bitcoin take 1,100 days from the prior all-time high to break that all-time high. However, in this cycle, we took, again, about 250 days less than expected there. And that deviation, along with some other deviations, such as not seeing a rejection from a retest of this yellow line, not seeing a pre-halving correction, as well as the ETFs leading to just ginormous uptrends on the weekly chart with 7 or 8 consecutive weekly candle closes being green. There's just a few deviations that have occurred in this cycle that have kind of, altered the possibilities of 4-year cycle playing out again. Now, 4-year cycle is not broken, but it is damaged to a certain extent because some of the trends pertained within the 4-year cycle have been damaged. So 4-year cycle as a broader trend is based on tops and bottoms, but the trends, the macro trends within the 4-year cycle that keep Bitcoin and cryptocurrency intact to reach those tops and bottoms, a lot of those have been broken or tampered with. So that kind of, does kind of have to make us have plan Bs, okay? And it's the reason I've been saying in this cycle we need to be more reactive to price action rather than predictive. We can't put all our eggs in one basket saying we're going to see a top in October 2025 based on 4-year cycle like we did in the last cycle, because unlike the last cycle, we're seeing preliminary deviations this time. Those are my thoughts on 4-year cycle, but it is worth noting, okay, that, Bitcoin's been seeing consolidation here for about 100 days. 100 days of sideways consolidation. Very major consolidation, especially for this part of the market cycle, especially for where we are in terms of testing prior all-time highs. Perhaps Bitcoin's seeing such extensive consolidation because it moved upwards so far and now it's trying to get itself back on track of 4-year cycle. Who knows? We don't know for a fact. It is a possibility, and that's why I'm not willing to throw the 4-year cycle out the window. But it's not something we can ever really know for a fact. We will only really know when the top is placed, okay? But again, 4-year cycle is not off the table. And I just want to take this moment here to remind you that it's not off the table. Because again, maybe one of the reasons we're seeing such extensive consolidation here when we didn't expect it at all really, is because we're trying, or the charts are trying to put themselves back on track with the typical 4-year cycle. Now, if that is the case, we can expect much more consolidation, okay? Maybe not in this price region, but just in general throughout this market cycle. But we don't know ultimately. I don't know personally. I can't give you the answers. I don't think anyone can. I'm just saying that, don't be too quick to discount the 4-year cycle entirely because it is based on tops and bottoms only. That's all I'm saying really. And we'll be keeping a close eye on it. But do I think the 4-year cycle is likely to play out perfectly this time? I think given the data, no, I don't. But is it off the table entirely? No, not at all. And this is why I'm saying we need to be reactive rather than predictive, because if we are reactive, it allows us to adapt to the possibility of the 4-year cycle still being in play, or the possibility that it's not in play. So I thought I'd just share some thoughts there on 4-year cycle. I'd share another thing here. One of the other things I'm looking at quite closely this cycle is the long-term Bitcoin power law chart. Okay, you can just Google it, power law chart on Bitcoin, because actually, if you'll see, the center line in green is where we reached that 73K top, and that's one of the only indicators I have ever seen on the Bitcoin charts ever that has kind of shown us any real reason for Bitcoin to have even a medium-term top at 73K. Look, here's the thing about Bitcoin right now. There's no chart at all that I have seen that suggests that a bull market top will have been at 73.6K. Nothing at all. I've never seen a single chart suggesting that. So if this is the bull market top, that will be completely left of field, right? No one will have seen that coming. The only chart I can see at all that has even suggested there is any resistance in that region is the Bitcoin power law chart. And even that chart did not really say it would be the top. It just said it would be a resistance. So for that reason, I'm willing to pay attention to this chart very close in this bull market or this macro environment in general. So I'll be paying close attention to that, and I recommend you do so as well. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and check out, as I said, the 3 exchanges on this YouTube channel. All the links for signing up are down below for 15% trading fee discounts. Alternatively, or in addition to that, really, go ahead and check out the VIP group on Telegram. We trade altcoins 4 to 5 times a week in that public trading group. You're also getting access, if you sign up to it, to a VIP group chat where you can discuss the market 24/7, share charts, have conversations, debate with people about your opinions. It's all in there. It's very good to be in part of that community if you're going to be in this market. And again, 77.51% win rate on those trading signals, which is very, very good. And then finally, if you want to learn how to trade for yourself, you can do the educational course myself and Megawell Crypto created, named Become a Trader, a 10-unit course teaching you how to trade. Okay, we've got a bull market sale right now, so a limited time, we'll have a discounted price. Check that out. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers.